Welcome to day 30, our last day of provision, seeing, receiving, and resting. Today we want to rest in the truth that your life becomes a testimony of God's provision. Our verse of the day is from Psalm 23, verse 1, a reminder, "The Lord is my shepherd, I will not be in need." Now, as we arrive on our final day here of this provision journey, what began as learning to see God's provision has now become something deeper, learning to live from it. Like actively being aware of it and walking in it. Psalm 23:1 declares this bold truth, not as wishful thinking, but as a settled reality of relationship. Like with God, I will not be in need. A lot of translations say, I lack nothing. Either way you say it, this does not mean that life is gonna be challenge-free or you're not going to have questions again, right? It just means that in every season, God's care is sufficient, faithful, and ongoing. You will not be in need. You lack nothing because the Lord is your shepherd. He is constantly guiding you, walking with you, and the closer you are with him, you just know you will not be in need ever. So over these last 30 days, I hope your perspective has been reshaped. You've learned to recognize God as your provider, your source, to notice the daily provision, to receive sustaining grace and peace and clarity, to see his goodness in your ordinary everyday life and everyday moments. And you've learned to rest in his presence, his timing, his wisdom, his plans, right? What once felt hidden became visible, and what once felt uncertain has now become steadier and more clear. You can trust him as your provider, your source, and your life will reflect that in more ways than you realize. So now the invitation is not just awareness, it is identity. Your life itself becomes a testimony of God's provision. That your life becomes a testimony that God provides for you in many different ways, not just, through financial means, but through peace and wisdom and love and encouragement, and not just in past experiences, but in how you think and how you respond to people, how you trust the Lord, how you rest in the Lord. People will see how you rest, even through the uncertainty and the lack, perceived lack, and how you work through the fears and the doubts. People will see that as your life reflects his testimony, his provision of his faithfulness, his love, his care for his people. Provision is no longer just something you look for. It becomes something you live from, and people can see that. Even in the seasons of waiting, the seasons of stretching you, the seasons of perceived limitation, you are not outside of God's care. You can recognize that, and other people will begin to recognize that as well when you respond in different ways. You are inside of his provision. You are shepherded, you are guided, you are sustained, you are known by God, and he is faithful to provide. He is your source. He's your good father. He will care for his people. So this is the shift from striving to testifying, right? From fear to rest, from questioning provision to recognizing it as a pattern of your life with God, as who God is. Let's take one final remembering moment. Grab your provision journals, your trackers, your evidence trackers, and take a moment to look back on your entire journey. And if you're just joining me here, start one today and just reflect on your life as a whole with God's provision. Think about how your awareness has changed, learning to trust the Lord more and more. Where you once saw lack, you may notice now evidence of provision. Where you once felt uncertainty, you may now recognize sustaining grace and mercy and care. Where you once felt alone in your needs, you may see God's steady presence walking with you right now, trusting that he never leaves or never abandons you, never forsakes you. He is with you always. Let yourself acknowledge the ways your eyes have been opened, your heart has been opened on this journey. And again, if you're just starting this journey, expect your heart to be changed in provision, and just trust in knowingness that God is taking care of you. He promised, his promises are true, and the more you walk it out, the more you'll learn to trust the Lord. The fear of the lack and the doubts will all dissipate. They'll still come up, but you'll be able to shift your awareness and remind yourself of God's truth. And with your evidence of provision, it'll become easier over time. So I have one final practice for you today. Today's focus is just simple gratitude and reflection. I want you to pause intentionally throughout your day and say, God, you have provided for me. You can also keep it in the present moment saying, God, you are providing for me. And then remind yourself, God, you will provide for me. Past, present, future. But remind yourself that he has provided for you in the past. And then look for one specific way that truth has been real in your life today, big or small. Like, look at your life as a testimony of provision. Where's the evidence showing, big or small, that you've anchored this truth in some way, some aspect? And then this evening, write down 5 ways that you now recognize God's provision more clearly than when you began this journey. Or if you're just starting, what you expect, because it's a process to become dependent and trustworthy in the Lord. And then take time to thank him, not only for what he's given, but for how he's teaching you how to see provision and how to trust him and how to walk with him. The goal is to move from learning to living and from awareness to testifying, to testimony. Let your life become a reflection of God's goodness, God's faithfulness, God's provision. And again, this is more than just monetary provision. Show the world how God provides peace in the storm, clarity in confusion. Your testimony may be something that sets someone else free from their perceived lack and scarcity and limitations. Even if they're walking with the Lord, they may not fully trust him yet. But just seeing how you respond to life will encourage somebody else to trust God more and more with provision as our provider, everybody's provider, his children. And then I have 4 final provision declarations for you for this series. If you like positive affirmations, just repeat these to yourself as often as you need to remind yourself of the truth. Say to yourself, the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. My life is a testimony of God's faithful provision. I am no longer blind to his care, I see it everywhere. And today I rest in the truth that God has always provided, and he always will. Let your soul rest in the truth that he has provided for you, he is providing for you, and he will provide for you. He is that good, he is that faithful. He is your good father, your good shepherd. Ask him for wisdom and guidance. Ask him to reveal evidence of his care so you can remind yourself, as you go along. Again, you're not going to be without fear or doubt always, and they'll still come up. But like Jesus in the wilderness, remind yourself of God's truth. Not just using with scripture, but you can remind yourself of the evidence of provision. Reference your provision tracker, reference your evidence tracker, whatever you're keeping. Keep a notebook, so that way you can remind yourself of God's provision. Because you will forget, you will freak out. But the more you remember, the more you return, the more you just continue walking, knowing, trusting that he will provide for you, your life will change. The fear will lessen, yes. The doubts will lessen. And you can walk in the calm, loving, peaceful walk of, showing the world that God provides for his people. And he's trustworthy, he's faithful, he's loving, he loves his children. Trust that today. Thank you for joining me here on this provision series. Feel free to rewatch any day. Thank you for supporting me if you bought the eBook version of this. It's in the description if you want more information. It's on my Etsy currently. If you're watching this in the future, I may have a different e-shop, but the description should be updated on where you can find this. Or you can just check out my website for new information on devotionals and Bible studies, provision and otherwise. So thanks again for joining me here. I love you so much, and I'll see you on a new series. Till next time.